Welcome back on the show as we will bring in our next guest to talk some girls basketball. That is Rick Hetzel, the head coach of the St. Thomas Aquinas girls basketball team. Coach, appreciate you coming on the show. For you, kind of getting into that final stretch of the regular season, like what's the focus and the mentality like for your club right now?
Well, this year's quite a bit different than last year because we got everybody back. We didn't have a senior last year, so the focus is a little bit higher than it was. It's nice to have that this year.
You talk about not having a senior last year, so like what was that like? Just trying to rely on some of the underclassmen to be your stepping up into leadership roles.
Well, I think that's what our problem was during the regular season. We didn't really have anybody do that, and so it really the end of the year when we got in the postseason, we really had a few kids step up, and it really became important to them.
You talk about finding leaders on the team, like it's a lot of times it's pretty easy to lean on whoever the seniors or the group of seniors are, but for you, like developing those leaders, like do you see that naturally happen throughout their high school careers, or do you kind of have to push some of them to the water?
Yeah, it changes every year. Fortunately, we've had a great group of kids here. I've been my entire career, we've had kids that are really focused on the team aspect and the team culture, and it's just grown from there. But as I said, last year without a senior, it was a little bit tougher. We kind of had to search that out and try to build that during the season.
That team culture, like what does it take to build that? And what type of culture did you want to start, even going back to the 90s when you took over at St. Thomas?
Well, Coach Harper's been with me every year, my assistant, and we've a strong sense of fundamentals, and we've tried to increase changes over the years as the game's developed. The game's changed a little bit, especially on the girls' side, I think. And it's we try and still stay with the fundamental aspect and just the hard nose, catch the ball two hands, but it's year to year it changes with our talent and how we adapt to that. And so the culture though stays the same. It's there's a few expectations and the kids are aware of those, and it's been nice to have that every year, that same expectation.
You mentioned the game changing, and there's, change is going to happen, but like, how have you seen the girls' game change? Like, what has stood out to you over the last 20 plus years?
Well, I think there's more single sport athletes now, which is a shame. And so you don't get quite the diversity of athletes coming to play. It's more you get the basketball kids. You're not getting quite as many of the volleyball kids and the soccer kids that are playing multi-sports, and that's a shame. But the game's changed in so many ways with whether it be a shot clock or just the speed of the game with the girls. And some of the kids now are they've been playing for so long, and it's pretty exciting to see that on the girls' side.
You mentioned shot clock. Have you liked it so far as the implementation in Kansas?
It really hasn't, I don't think, made a difference for us. I think over the course of my career, I can look back and say maybe in all the games we've played, which is 600-700 varsity games, and I'd say maybe 5 or 6 times where it really made a difference in the game. So I don't think it's that big a difference for us, really.
Going back, starting as an assistant, like what did you learn just kind of under as an assistant with Mark?
Oh, well, I've been with a lot of different head coaches, but with Mark Nussbaum, that was really kind of the difference maker for me. I had just got back from a Bobby Knight clinic, and I went into practice with Coach Nussbaum, and he was saying the exact same things that I learned at the clinic, and it was kind of neat as a young coach to get that just validation of everything with the guy that was now my new mentor. That was really, for me, it was a life-changing moment.
What are some of the things you either took from Coach Nussbaum or even, even like a Bobby Knight? Are those some of the things that you try to infuse in your team?
Oh, there's so many stories. We need this to go a lot longer than just this interview. Some of them, it's just been a great learning experience. But Coach Nussbaum was so big on just shell type of defense, jumping to the ball, one man removed, ball side of screen, and you just go through all that stuff over and over again with your kids and just develop that in a half-court defense. And that has been a fundamental of our program for years, is just a man-to-man defense. And the same thing Coach Knight was saying that Mark Nussbaum said.
That man-to-man, like anything that you try to teach, you mentioned jumping to the ball, but what do you try to break down as far as your man-to-man and what makes it so good?
Well, I think it sometimes it's not so good, but the biggest compliment we get is when people tell you it looks like a zone, because we're playing man to man. We've never played a zone, and we've had multiple commentators on games say that we switch to a zone defense, and it's like we don't play a zone. So it's that's our kids knowing how to get midline, ball line, and really stunt recovers, and it's that for us is kind of the exciting part.
We talked about culture, and I mean, obviously the track record and the history of St. Thomas Aquinas, and the multiple state appearances, the consecutive streak. Like for you, like as a coach, I know you're in the thick of a season right now, and you're focused on your team. But do you ever, like, especially at the end of a year, like just take a step back and realize what you're kind of in the middle of right now?
Not really. I think that's going to be
Oh,
one of
good.
those things that I kind of look at maybe when I'm done. When I'm retired, then I can kind of look back with Coach Harbor and kind of think about that. And maybe it'll mean something then. But my mom, when she was alive, she would kind of say things, and she was my biggest fan. So since that time, it's like it doesn't really matter right now. It's kind of just it's for the kids, and you just kind of every year is different, and you're kind of doing it for this team this year, and that's all that really matters.
Do you feel like, the expectations of St. Thomas Aquinas, like, do the girls kind of feel that? I mean, I got to mention, they just come in like razor sharp focused each and every year.
Yeah, you come to practice sometime. I don't know about the razor sharp focus each time, but the expectations are real. And it's, I think the pressure put on the kids is real. And we talk about pressure being a privilege, and these kids have created that. And it's almost sometimes an unfortunate part of it, but they embrace it and go with it. So it's just kind of one of those things.
Looking at your schedule, and you got off to that great start, you hit that bump, your first loss with Staley High School. Like, how often I mean, I know you're right there in Kansas City, but like, do you enjoy playing like the Missouri schools, or do you try to get more KC schools, or what's kind of your philosophy on your schedule?
But play who we can.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough for us to fill out a schedule, and Staley is just so good. I mean, they are loaded, and it's just really great to see kids working that hard with a coach that's doing Coach Bennett's just doing an outstanding job, and so it's kind of fun to see that. But yeah, we play everybody we can around here. I mean, being in the EKL, we get a tough schedule already because it's a tough league, and it's been a lot of fun to be in over the years.
What did you learn from that game with being your first loss of the season? Like, what did you take from that game?
Well, hopefully we learned some things. I mean, we've got some kids that, again, focus on the basics and just don't try and do too much at any one time, and do the little things. And if you do the little things, that'll take care of the big things.
I was looking on your website, and I saw like one of your mottos. I don't know if it was from previous years or something that you use over and over, but the mini play, if you understand. Do you still use that? And I guess if so, kind of explain it.
Yeah, we use that. We come in, we get a lot of kids that are very talented and come and play, but some of them really don't know how to go about playing with teammates. And I think for me, that's the beauty of basketball. It's 5 kids trying to do things together, and that's what makes it a lot of fun and probably the biggest challenge in coaching. And so trying to get those kids with each other is the challenging part, because you can get an individual talent, but sometimes they don't know how to play with kids.
What's that process like? Is trying to infuse them into the team and building that chemistry? Is that something that just comes natural, the more reps they get, or how do you try to, I guess, encourage that more?
Yeah, the process is, I would say it's long. It takes a long time sometimes. Some kids pick it up quickly, and some kids really never pick it up. It's kind of one of those things that you just stay after and just try and phrase it different ways and try and show them different drills and show them different things, and hopefully they pick it up over time.
Rick Hetzel joining us, head coach of the girls basketball team at St. Thomas Aquinas. I know you had some time at the college ranks with UMKC on the bench there. Like, what was that experience like for you, and what'd you take it from the college ranks?
Well, I was very young and dumb at the time, and didn't know what I didn't know, type thing. But you've done your homework, obviously, because not a lot of people can even remember back those times. But it was I'm still friends with a lot of those guys now, and they're virtually the same age as me. And so I was kind of, like I said, young and stupid, and just kind of not knowing the opportunity that I had. Bill Ross was the head coach, and I had him some classes. He knew I was coaching and wanted to put me in there. And I was with Tony Guy was the other assistant from KU, and Tony was really with Coach Ross, the brains of the operation. I was just kind of tagging along and trying to pick up stuff as I went. And it was really, I wish I could go back to that right now. I really do, because that would be, just so much fun right now, just to be able to add something to it instead of just kind of being there, trying to get what I could from Coach Guy and Coach Ross. But it was, I still remember a lot of those things. I still have my book with all the practice schedules in it and all Coach Ross's phrases, and still use some of those to this day. When he was being recruited at different schools, we'll talk about that too. Chew each bite of food 25 times, and it's those things. Some of these kids will tell you the same stuff, so it's just kind of fun to take some of those things and relive them, because that was a long time ago.
You talk about practice schedules. So like, are you one of those coaches that wants to like pencil everything out as far as like, okay, hey, at 3:35 we're going to be doing this, 3:40? Like, how much structure do you have when you go into a practice?
It varies. Early in the year, a lot, and then as we go on, I don't do it as much, which some people might view as wrong. But then I try and say, what do we need more of? And if it's going well or not going well, we'll spend more time on it. It's kind of more going like how you feel with something, as opposed to maybe literally what you should do, if that makes sense. I don't, sure. It probably doesn't, but it's just more of a gut feeling, like, what do we really need to get done? And then I trust my assistants so much, because we've got, as I said, Bob Harbor, but Sam Paradise and John Novacek, that come up with just great ideas at practice and different things that we incorporate. And it's not like a college level or even some high schools where I get to spend that much time with them during the day. So it's more, we get the time right before practice starts. So we'll kind of vary it sometimes.
Well, I know you mentioned, your other assistants, but I mean, I always see like, programs that have success, and the continuity with the coaching staff is huge. And you mentioned, Coach Harbor, like being able to, just have that same coaching staff year after year after year, like the girls know what to expect. And like, how big has that been just for how you feel for St. Thomas Aquinas?
Well, you'd like to think it's great. And having Coach Harbor, the one thing you don't want ever is a yes man. And Bob will say, no, you're wrong. And that's important for me to hear many times, because I will be wrong, and he needs to kind of get me back on track. And the same thing with Coach Paradise. I mean, Sam is great. She won a state championship with us here in high school. And it's great to have her ideas and her energy at practice every day. And Coach Novacek is a longtime Aquinas alumni, parent, current parent. And so he understands the philosophy and mission of the school. So it's wonderful to have that in our program, along with Coach Allie Dirks, who's our C team coach, and she won 2 state championships with us. So we've got a staff that is just really fun to be with, and very knowledgeable, and makes my job so much easier.
Coach, appreciate the insight to your program, and best of luck the rest of the season.
Thanks so much for having me.
That is Rick Hetzel, head coach of the St. Thomas Aquinas girls basketball team. We'll have more of the show after the break.